welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today I am comparing two very popular homeschool curriculum unit studies for Thanksgiving. I am comparing the Thanksgiving unit from Campfire Curriculums and I'm comparing that to the Gather Round Thanksgiving unit. Both of these companies have released kind of these standalone Thanksgiving units. I want to say they're both considered like a mini unit of their normal traditional size unit, so they are unique in that aspect. For both curriculum companies, they're a lot lighter of a workload because they're meant to be doing, you know, right up until Thanksgiving when some of us are taking those fall breaks. And so I'm excited to share both of these curriculum with you guys. So if you are still trying to figure out if you want to do a unit study, or maybe you're considering one of the two, hopefully this video has some information for you. All right, so let's kind of talk about some of the commonalities between these two units. Both units are available online that you can purchase as a digital download. So that means you can purchase it right after you watch this video and print them out. The difference is Gather Round does offer printed book options. So if you don't have a printer or you just prefer to have them print because their quality is really great, you can order the books, the printed units directly from Gather Round. Both of these units can be used family style. That's how they're meant to be used, and they cover early pre-reader kids, young pre-K kids, all the way up to high school. So you can get the unit for your entire family, and these are meant to kind of do together. Campfire Curriculum does not have like traditional like separate worksheets for the kids, so normally you're all working out of like one main teacher's guide. There are a couple activities that I saw in this Thanksgiving unit that you may want to print out one paper for each of your children, but the kids don't have like a separate workbook. They have one that is called Advanced, which I kind of see that one working very well for like older elementary, middle school, and high school. And then they also have, I want to say it's called an early reader, pre-reader for those younger ages. And so they're following the same lessons, but it kind of has some adaptation. So if you're only working with younger kids, you're going to really want to stick to that younger guide, whereas if you're dealing with older kids, you may only deal with the advanced guide. So there's two separate options for age level kid. Now with Gather Round has separate student workbooks. So they have the main teacher guide, and the main teacher guide you use for all ages, but then each of your kids, depending on the level they're at, has their own individual workbook. So they have pre-reader, early elementary, upper elementary, middle school, and high school. So Gather Round does have a lot more variations for the age levels, as well as they do have the individual student workbook. So that means each lesson you have in your teacher's guide, they have some corresponding worksheet type pages to complete in their student workbook. So keep that in mind also, that if you do need to print it, you need to print the teacher's guide and the individual student workbooks, or you could use the teacher's guide on like your phone, on a tablet. I've seen people cast it to their screen. But your kids do need the printed out student workbooks for their age level. So pricing wise, Campfire is $30 for the digital bundle, and you get everything that I mentioned, the advanced unit and the kind of early younger reader adaptation of it, as well as they do have a Canadian add-on. There are some adaptations for specific lessons that's included, so you get that as well. For Gather Round, if you choose the digital option, there's one option, it's $39, and that gives you digital access to the teacher's guide and all levels of the student workbook. So if you've used Gather Round before, you know you can repeat these. So maybe we'll do it this year while my kids are at a certain age, and then we'll return in 2 years and I'll bump all my kids up to the next level, so they'll get a little bit different of an experience. So you pay that one-time fee, but you have access to all the different age workbooks, so you can use those in the future as well. Gather Round does offer printed options of each individual student workbook or teacher guide, and I want to say they're $20 each for these units. So you would purchase each book individually, they print them, their quality is amazing, and then they ship and mail them to you. Now, both of these are mini units, so that means they are smaller units than both of these curriculum companies normally put out, which makes sense. It's supposed to be, you know, kind of a holiday, a lighter school time. Gather Round's unit has 4 total lessons. Lesson 1 is called The Bigger Picture. Lesson 2 is the Canadian Thanksgiving. Lesson 3 is US Thanksgiving. And lesson 4 is what it's all about. So there's 4 lessons that you're going to work through. I do want to say that I heard that it's meant to do like the week of Thanksgiving. So that's why there's only 4. So you know, only need to spend 4 school days on this unit. Campfire is a little bit bigger. There are 15 lessons. So you would definitely want to start this right in the beginning of November if you want to focus on 1 lesson a day, which is normally what they recommend doing. All right, editing me needed to jump in and add some things about both of these curriculum companies and their choices for Thanksgiving. So both of the units I'm talking about in this video are very tradition heavy. So that is why there's a lot of activity, giving thanks, being grateful, recipes. If you are looking for more of like a historical type unit for Thanksgiving, Campfire offers a completely different Thanksgiving unit. So the one I'm talking about is their Giving Thanks unit, which again is more on those traditions, the good of Thanksgiving, the holiday more. They do have another unit called In the Season of Thanksgiving, which goes more into the historical aspects of it and is a little bit more in depth. So if you're looking more for history, I would check out that unit. And then Gather Round has their US History 1, which we used last year, and that does go more into the history of Americans, versus Thanksgiving, kind of the story that we're told versus what really happened. So the units I'm sharing in this are more tradition based, but both companies do offer more of a historical unit if that's what you're looking for. So I just wanted to point that out if that's something more you're looking for. But for us, I wanted to focus more on like the tradition, the holiday, things that we do in our home, maybe the reasons why, new traditions, and then just being thankful in general for the season of Thanksgiving. Both of the teacher guides are set up pretty similarly, where you, parent, teacher, you're going to be reading the lesson to your kids, and there may be activities in there, they may be, you know, discussion questions in there, and so that flow is kind of going to be the same. You're all going to work together as a family. You're going to be reading through the lesson, and then you're going to complete if there's activities, if there's, you know, through Gather Round, some of the student work pages, and that's how the units kind of work. Both of these units do have lots of activities and kind of recipe type cooking as well, and so they do both provide supply lists, and I would expect to be doing different activities, different cooking type things. So I always recommend with these types of units, and this goes for both the Campfire Thanksgiving and the Gather Round, is I would pre-screen through a lot of it. So one, you can shop to make sure you have the supplies you need and kind of prepare yourself for, you know, what are we going to be doing this lesson today? Nothing is as bad as starting your lesson and you were not expecting, you know, an hour-long activity in your kitchen. So I would recommend reading through them, kind of planning them out for your month. So I know like the day before Thanksgiving, like that Wednesday, I really don't want my kids to be doing activities and lessons. I have a lot of prep work to do. So I kind of like work backwards and say, okay, we have these days available for lessons, and you kind of plug them in for the different lessons. All right, let's take a look at the Campfire curriculum. I'm just going to show some of the different pages, some of the different lessons, and so you can kind of get an idea of how that looks and what is all involved in that curriculum. Now that we've seen kind of some of the Campfire Thanksgiving unit, let's jump in and look at the Gather Round Thanksgiving unit. Have seen Gather Round, we've seen Campfire. I've kind of shared the facts about them both. I think they're both really fun, good units. Ultimately, I don't think you're going to go wrong choosing either of these units. I love that they're both available. I love that they both cater to family style learning, to different age levels, and they have a ton to offer if you are trying to plan out what to do for your homeschool this Thanksgiving. So I will link both of the units down below. If you have specific questions, feel free to leave those down below in the comments. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and thank you for all your support.